Well, hey crafty friends, it's Heidi Scott with DIY Dreaming, and oh my goodness, I have got the cutest new idea for a boxy t-shirt sleeve fix. And I can't wait to show it to you. We're also going to add a stencil. So let me show you what we're working with, and then we'll hop right in, grab a pen and some paper so that you can write all the measurements down. Okay, so today I'm working with one of my favorites. Oops, don't peek. It is a Comfort Colors t-shirt from Hobby Lobby. This color is called Chalky Mint. These are always on sale at Hobby Lobby. Full price is $13.99. They're usually 30 or 40% off. And I tell you what, these t-shirts wash and wear so well. They are so, I have these from 3-4 years ago that I stenciled and have washed and worn and washed and worn and washed and worn. So every time I'm at Hobby Lobby, I grab a few more. And I like my t-shirts generously sized, so I don't have to worry about not throwing them in the dryer. So I always get an extra large. Okay, so the only thing I don't like about this t-shirt is that it has just these really boxy sleeves that are not, for my arms, super flattering. So I'm going to show you a brand new trick to treat that. Typically what I do is I roll the little cuffs, and then I'll either stencil the inside of the sleeve so you can see it on the cuff, or I'll stencil the outside of the sleeve so that the cuff is solid and the outside of the sleeve is stenciled. That's my typical thing. This one involves scissors. And I was pretty nervous to make that first cut. Although, when I was in high school, my friend Sarah and I made several t-shirts that we basically cut the neck out, cut the sleeves apart, did slashes, all kinds of things. So I don't know why I'm so nervous, but it's just like this t-shirt was $13.99 and I don't want to wreck it. So just believe me, you'll love it, and you can customize this to your preferences, how high or how low you want them. Okay, so I'm going to start at the beginning. Let me show you where we're going. It is so cute on. It's got this little knot up here at the top. And once I roll it, the t-shirt material will kind of roll. Once I wash it, sorry, the t-shirt material will kind of roll at the edge that I cut off. So it's going to be super cute. Okay, so let me take off my price and brand tag. And I think that's gone. Okay, so I was measuring this t-shirt, and what I determined is that from the top where the seam is of the shoulder to the bottom of this t-shirt is about 9 inches. And by the way, I did iron the sleeves so that they would have this little crisp part, this fold at the top. Okay, so first thing to do, and this is where you get really nervous, is I'm going to pin my 2 sleeves together, and this doesn't have to be perfect, but okay, and I want to tell you something while I'm getting this ready. These Comfort Colors t-shirts from Hobby Lobby are great to stencil with permanent ink. They are not great to use bleach art gel on. And that's because they have some kind of a coating on the t-shirt material that makes them last and wash and wash and wash and not lose their color, and the fabric looks great. But it makes it almost impossible for the bleach in bleach art gel to penetrate. So this t-shirt, these Hobby Lobby Comfort Color t-shirts are better for stenciling with ink and not so great for using bleach art gel. Okay, now I'm going to cut this cuff off, and I'm going to leave just a little tiny bit of room along the edge. I'll show you in just a second. When I did the other one, I was like, okay, take a deep breath, Heidi. It's, even if you ruin this t-shirt, it's not the end of the world. Okay, and where did I get this idea? I was looking on Pinterest, as I'm prone to do, and I found lots of cute ideas for those t-shirts where you cut everything up. You cut the sleeves off, or you do all kinds of things. And I saw this idea of sort of a weavy thing, but it was going all the way up on the neck, and it was pulling the gal, cute gal, her shirt clear down over her shoulders. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm not really that age anymore to wear that kind of a shirt. So from there, I adapted this idea to put the little tie at the top and to stop with the sleeves and not go up into the shirt. Okay, I'm going to, just to make my t-shirt stay together nice, I'm going to put a couple of pins in it. Okay, and this is what I have. Can you see how there's a little tiny bit of margin? Oops, not a little tiny bit, quite a bit right there. Trim that off nice. Okay, and I'm going to get rid of this because I don't need that part of it. So I just cut this off. Okay, so now I have my sleeve and the cuff has been cut off. Next thing I'm going to do, and it doesn't matter whether you work from the front or the back, is I'm going to measure every 1 inch going up from the edge that I cut off to the top, and it should be about 8 inches from top to the bottom now, because I cut this off and this was about 1 inch. Okay, and to show myself where those little spots are, I'm just going to put some pins in here. So I started at about 7, and then I'm going to go about 6. That pin is worthless. And then at about 5. Is this making sense? I hope it is. And you could do bigger. This is basically going to create almost like a little pleat, a little ruffle almost going down the sleeve. You could do bigger than 1 inch or smaller, whatever you like. Okay, so these pins right here are all about 1 inch apart. So 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then you're going to make one little snip at the very top, not quite on the seam, just below it, because we're going to want to glue something there. So don't cut that too small. And when I say a snip, it's just a little tiny snip. So now I'm going to snip at each one of these. Don't worry if they're not perfectly spaced, it does not matter. Or if some of them are bigger snips than others, it does not matter. Okay, let's take these out. And I'll show you what we've got. What do you guys think so far? Do this or this? Sorry, this or this? A thumb or a heart? If you like this idea. This is very, I don't know, 70s, 80s-ish, but it's the modest version of that. And I'm going to throw this pin away. Okay, so this is what I have. Here's my sleeve, and this is what it looks like. Some of these I might have to make just a little bit bigger. I think those are going to be fine. Okay, and then this is going to create this. And we are going to use just a little tiny dab here and there of hot glue. And I'll probably continue to fiddle with this because this is literally the first time I've done this idea. And I'll share, you know, more ideas. I'll probably come back and glue some of the inside of the cuff of the sleeve down too. Okay, so let me remember how I did this. Okay, I'm going to come, I want the front to show, not the inside, okay? So I'm going to come from underneath through the first snip. And then I'm going to go down through the next one. And I am definitely seeing that I did not make these snips as big. So let's just lengthen them just a smidge. Because I want this to be able to lay flat. Okay, so we're going up, down, up, down. Basically, we're just gonna almost be, this is like a gathering stitch, sort of, but it's the cuff of the t-shirt sleeve. And by the way, if you wanted to do this with a big bow or something, you could cut off the bottom cuff of your t-shirt, and then you'd have a lot longer piece of fabric to work with. So I'll show you this in just a second. Get in there. Okay. So this is basically what that looks like. For the bottom one, I came from the inside because we're not going to cinch up this very teeny little bit because once it gets washed, it'll kind of roll itself. I know that because I've cut enough t-shirts. All right, then I want to take this one that's inside the shirt up and out of the very top point. And I'm going to even these up. You just have to kind of fiddle with it until you get it to lay how you want it to lay. Okay, and I think when I was fiddling around with my first one, I decided that I wanted 3 inches to be able to tie in a knot here at the very top of my shoulder. So let's measure. And the one that we came up from inside the top stitch, I'm going to be gluing it down right here. Right just below the very cap of that sleeve. Okay, so I need 3 inches. And if, was it 3? I'm pretty sure it was. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was. Okay, so I'm going to mark where the 3 inches just by putting a pin through my little sleeve cuff. Okay, and then I want to glue that down right here, right now, before I move on to the next step. And I don't want to glue the front to the back, so I'm kind of being careful to pull it apart. And I'm going to put just a teeny bit of glue. I hope this is all making sense. If there's something that you're confused about, try watching this one more time. And know that I'll do these again in the future because I'm pretty excited about this whole idea. Try sketching it out. Okay, so I need 3 inches here also. Whoops, I just lost that pin. And if I had one of those little fabric markers, I could do that. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tie a little knot right here. Let's take this out. And that is basically how you get this ruffle with this little tie at the top. And I think, yes, my guess was pretty close. I was remembering what I did before. It was 3 inches. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust my little up and down, up and down, up and down business just a little bit. And I am going to put a teeny tiny dot of glue at a couple of places to hold it so that it doesn't keep scrunching down. These are all technical terms, by the way. And that is pretty much it. You could take a few minutes and sew this knot or glue it. You also could take a few minutes and glue the inside of the loop that goes through the t-shirt sleeve just to make it more stable and in one place. Okay, now let's move on to the front. So I'm going to use this awesome stencil that says Amen. That's why I didn't want this t-shirt to be, I wanted it to be modest and not revealing. So that's why I didn't do these all the way up to the top, because when you do that, it kind of pulls the whole neck open. Okay, I'm just looking to see, do I have this laying flat? Magnolia has this thing that is called an inking mat that you can put underneath. And a lot of people love those, but I'm old school, old paper towel school. And this is how I like to do it. I like to just lay 2 plies of paper towels inside the front and back of my t-shirt. Get this all straight here. To make sure that the ink doesn't go from the front all the way to the back. Okay, and then the next thing I'm going to do after that, perfect, could go over a little bit, but that's okay, is I'm going to use this. This is a t-shirt placement tool, and you just basically lay it so that this right here is the center, and I generally use the tag, can you see that, kind of to see where that center is? And it gives you an idea where your stencil should start. because it looks funny, honestly, if you put your stencil too low, and it looks funny if your stencil is too high. So this just gives you the perfect, spot. Okay, I'm going to take my sheet placement tool off. And I'm going to do my typical that I almost always do with these Comfort Colors t-shirts. I am going to use white ink from Magnolia Design Company. Where is my little squeegee? Here it is. This is my favorite look, but of course you could do it in whatever colors. And if you have a t-shirt that you just don't ever wear because the sleeves are funny, you don't necessarily have to stencil a t-shirt to be able to do this. You could do this on an already decorated t-shirt. And you don't have to use the Amen. You could use any one you want. Let me see if I'm sort of in the vicinity. And a little bit over. So let me try again. Okay, I kind of eyeballed it, so I sort of know. It doesn't have to be perfect, Heidi. Nobody's ever going to notice. Okay, let's say that's good. Okay, and I'm just going to make sure that I have my stencil down. Good. You probably noticed that I did not fuzz it, even though it is brand new. And that is because I'm using it on fabric. So why fuzz it on fabric to use it on fabric? You don't need to. Oops, I've got this on my fingers already. Okay, so this is my ink. I'm just going to put some blobs here. I really need to order a new pot of white, but these last so long. Okay, so what is the trick about stenciling on fabric? I know people feel afraid of that. There's nothing to be afraid of. It's exactly the same as anything else. You want to get the empty space covered, and then make sure it's fully covered, and then you want to make yourself stop. Then take your stencil off, put it in a pot of water, a tub of water, take it right straight out to your kitchen sink and wash it. Don't leave the ink on your stencil for a long time. That's not good to do. And then set your t-shirt aside overnight if you can possibly stand it, because I know I'm usually so eager, and let it dry thoroughly. And then you're going to heat set it with a hot iron, a piece of parchment paper. This is a cotton t-shirt, so I'm going to put my iron on just slightly below cotton, and I'm going to move it around with my parchment paper just to protect my iron. For 3 or 4 minutes, I can turn it wrong side out and do the inside if I want, and that's it. It will be washable, wearable, dryable. It's not going to come off. It's not going to fade or peel or crack. It's not going to be crunchy. I know before I was involved with this company, I've always been kind of a crafter kind of person. One time I tried using paint on a stencil, and what the result of that is, when it dries, it is crunchy. And if you bend or crease it, it almost feels like it is going to break. So this does not feel like that. It'll be nice and soft. I'm just taking the excess off. Obviously I didn't need that much. And but there's no point throwing that away when I could use it again. Let me just see if I have everything fully covered. I think I do. Okay, let's give it a try. I'm going to lift a corner and peek. It looks great. Ooh, I see a spot. May have just not pushed down hard enough right there. Now I've got ink all over my fingers. Bummer. And there's another spot. This is going to be so cute. Okay, let me do just a little bit more right here. Okay, I'm throwing this in my tub of water, face down over here, until I can get out to my kitchen to spray it with cool water. I may use my stencil cleaner sponge and a little dish soap to get any white off of it. But this is what it looks like. And it's got these adorable sleeves. Almost got that. Messed that up. And I will get pictures of everything. I'll try to get my husband over this weekend to take a picture of me in the t-shirt so you can see how the sleeves lay. But I think they're going to be adorable. They have a little knot right here up at the very top. So do this or this. If you want to know more about the various stencils that Magnolia has, or permanent inks, which is what you would need for any kind of t-shirt project, you cannot use chalk paste. I'm so sorry. That is not permanent, and it will be a smudgy mess all over everything. If you would wash it, it would be all over everything in your washing machine. You need permanent ink that you've heat set. Anyways, if you want to take a look at all the awesome colors or see all the different Bible verses, faith themes, Magnolia has seasonal stuff. They have funny, snarky images. They have just a ton of different things. If you want to take a peek at that, comment here, Stencils, Stencils, or comment ink, INK, and I will send you a personal message right away with a link for you to go directly there. You can just click it and go right to my website and take a peek. Anyways, tell me if you liked this. Hope that you have a blessed and wonderful rest of your day. And I will see you guys later. Bye.